You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the longest-running Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
We're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking cerebral. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Tuesday, January 13th. I'm your host, Mike Oliva, joined by Josh Moser of WSBN 7, South Florida's #1 news channel. This man's been on the road for weeks, following the Miami Hurricanes around from bowl game to bowl game to bowl game. But now they're back home for their last one, the national championship game, and Josh has a few minutes to join us. Josh, how's been your travels?
Racking up the airline and hotel points, so hopefully get a free trip out of it by the end of the year. No, it's been good. We talk all the time. NFL is so different from college football.
Yes.
But the pageantry of college football and the fan bases, it's special. And
nothing beats it.
The games, it's a huge difference, but
it's different, yes, because there is a lower quality of play for the most part. Now, you're at games with guys who are going to be in the pros watching the top of the top.
But still, it's night and day.
It's night and day.
The average fan, the gap is night and day. But yeah, to be at the cities, to be around the parties, to be around the people, and there's just having that, camaraderie, the alumni. I'm not saying that NFL fan bases don't have that, because they do. But it's just a different feel, and, it's really fun. I know we talk all the time about NIL, and I know the big story is Ty Simpson's going to the draft from Alabama. Miami offered him $6.5 million, which is going to be way more than a year that he's going to make in the NFL. But it's just, there's just that heart that you sometimes don't see in the NFL, and the kids are younger. They're, it's more pure.
It is.
And, yeah, we'll see what happens Monday night, and we all know Miami's a party city, so team no sleep for another 7 days, and then we can figure out a parade or we're going on vacation.
It's also a front running city as well. So when you get a team that's good, everyone jumps on that bandwagon. A lot of hockey fans who people didn't know what anything about hockey was a few years ago. Now they're diehard, lifelong Panthers fans, Hurricanes fans. A lot of people jumping on the bandwagon, which is okay. Because when a team wins, that's what happens.
What's the blue line?
Blue line, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. All right, but no one's tuned in to hear about that. They're tuned in to hear about our Miami Dolphins, and there's a ton going on. Before I get to that, let's get some of the business stuff out of the way. Caneswear.com, really the place to be right now. Caneswear.com.
Love you, Brett.
For anything with the Miami Dolphins, of course, the Miami Hurricanes, your Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, the Heat, the Marlins, Caneswear.com, Caneswear.com. Caneswear.com. If you're in South Florida, and I'm sure they're packed with a line, stop by their shop, though, 2655 South University Drive in Davie. Tell them Mike sent you from Dolphins Talk. But go to Caneswear.com if you want any Miami Hurricanes championship gear. If you want anything for the Miami Dolphins, I think most fans of Dolphins right now got a little pep in their step, a little bit of hope, a little bit of excitement with some change. Caneswear.com. Also, shout out to everyone watching at the I Am a Miami Dolphins Fan Facebook page. And if you're watching this live on YouTube right now, 3 things. Smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And our super chats are open. We will read all the super chats on the air at some point in the show. If you want to comment about who you want to be the next head coach, who you think they should interview, who you don't want them to hire, or anything else, send us a super chat. And at some point before we end the show, we will read it on the air. All right, 2 bits of news. Number 1, the Miami Dolphins today on Tuesday moved on from, a.k.a. fired, assistant general manager Marvin Allen. And this was, let me say this, Josh, their social media team was on this because it was announced he was let go, or leaked he was let go. You go to the team website, he was scrubbed off the team website. His bio was gone. His profile was gone. They didn't waste a second getting Marvin Allen's name off the team website. So he's gone. And again, anyone with ties to Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel, they gone. We're in a whole new brave world. Marvin Allen's gone. Remember, they fired Grier, and then on Halloween, and then November 10th, they fired his 2 right-hand guys, Adam Engroff and Anthony Hunt. And now, fast forward, after they hire a new general manager, they fire Marvin Allen. And then what the Miami Dolphins did too, they signed a safety to a futures contract, which I usually would never mention on a show like this. His name is Omar Brown. Why did they hire or sign Omar to a futures contract? Well, because he was with the Packers, and John Eric Sullivan, obviously our new general manager, knows the Packers. He was on a practice squad in 2024. He played in one game, and last year he was on IR. So, for those who don't know, Josh Moser worked in Green Bay before he came to South Florida. So all these names, not so much the players, but all the names, the John Eric Sullivan stuff, you know these names. You've been around these names. So what is your thought on the hiring of John Eric Sullivan? What did you hear about him when you worked up there with the Packers, covering them in Wisconsin?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him quite a bit. Similar to what the Dolphins used to do, the brass would sit kind of in the press box, like right with you. Yeah. And it was great because they'd interact. And, in Green Bay, football is the lifeblood of the city. So very different. They were very open. John Eric's pretty quiet, but I think it was more the role and out of respect for the people that were in front of him, with Ed Policy, who's kind of the de facto decision maker. That is Brian Gutekunst's boss. But I really like John Eric. I mean, John Eric, his father was an NFL coach, wide receivers coach. His wife's father was a longtime assistant in the NFL. So he's got football through and through. He just turned 50. But he's been with Green Bay for a long time. And
03.
Yeah, he's been waiting for a general manager opportunity for a long time. He's been qualified for a long time. And I think it was just a matter of finding the right fit and having everything align. And I know we're going to talk about the head coaches in a minute, but what I find very interesting, we understand that Stephen Ross loved Mike McDaniel. Mike, we talked since Chris Greer was gone. The only way to do this was to get a clean sweep and clean house. And so here you have John Eric Sullivan gets hired, and then Mike McDaniel is let go a couple days after. So here's an opportunity for John Eric to hire someone that he wants. They can create their new team together. And I think that is a huge piece in this. But John Eric is your crunching numbers, find the right guy, find the right pieces that fit together, not necessarily having to be the most talented, but you've got to find guys that want to be here, especially with the distractions that Miami offers. And, as he builds out this roster, I know that there's a lot of question marks. And they kept on Brandon Shore, who's the money financial guy, who's going to take on a larger role. So I think John Eric was the perfect kind of statistical hire where he knows how to do this and really how to build out a scouting staff, which is where this team has struggled because we've seen the Dolphins miss on so many draft picks. They've hit a couple. Look, you're not going to hit them all.
No.
But you have to have a system in place. And John Eric, I know, is going to have that. And I'm very excited for everybody to do this a little bit differently. Mike, you mentioned, there's just kind of a renewed sense of energy around the fan base. There's going to be a renewed sense of energy around the building as well. It's not a knock on Mike McDaniel.
It just didn't work in the end. It didn't work. It's a results-oriented league. When you lose, if you're less than 500, 2 seasons in a row, and your line's going, you're not going to survive in this league.
Nope.
And it needed to be done. I'm sorry. He's a nice man. It needed to be done.
Yeah. And so, look, I mean, Mike McDaniel's going to get another opportunity. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But change of the guard. And kudos to Stephen Ross we know that he loved Mike McDaniel and that, he really wanted Mike McDaniel to stay. But this is truly what's best for the organization. And, it seems like there is now going to be alignment when they bring in a head coach from the ownership now down to the front office and trickling down to the head coach. And if you put the right pieces in place, there's an opportunity here to build something special.
Yeah, and it was announced today, reported by NFL insider Aaron Wilson, that the Miami Dolphins are expected to hire pro scout from the Packers, Venzel Bulware. He used to play for the Miami Hurricanes, and he's with the Packers as a pro scout. He's expected to now leave them and come to Miami. And this is going to start the pipeline, Josh. We know how this stuff works. The pipeline from Green Bay to Miami. Of course, the Packers are going to keep a lot of what they got there, obviously, but anyone who can get a promotion and get a little more money, if that job's open in Miami, and if he wants them, probably like this guy might be a scout there. He might get like a higher level scouting job, make some more money, play to Miami. Come on down. They saw this safety out there. He must have liked the kid when he was with Green Bay. He's not signed. Let me sign him to a futures contract. There's going to be a lot of guys with ties to the Packers, which might tie into the head coaching stuff. We'll talk soon. That pipeline is now in full effect. And let me tell you, there ain't nothing wrong with that because that's a winning organization. And if we're taking from somebody, let me take from them.
Yeah, I mean, look, think about, any job. Like, you want familiarity with people. You want people that are loyal to you. You want people that, you really know and that will be in the trenches with you. And this is very common in the NFL, in the NBA too, baseball as well. I mean, you want to be surrounded by the best people that you think you can put together. And why wouldn't you want someone with some of that familiarity? Shoot, like if I could go poach a couple, anchors from, other markets and teams like that I've worked with in the past.
I do it with our website. I hire people I know and trust.
Team. Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I do it with here. Yeah. Look with our site even. Like you surround yourself with people you can trust and that you know.
Yeah. But the question is how is John Eric going to build this roster? And I'm very excited to ask him those questions.
And
this team needs a full teardown outside of a few pieces.
Yeah, they got Achane, Jordan Brooks. Paul's an okay left tackle, nothing to move on from yet, but he's okay. I mean, some fans have him rated way too high, but he's fine. Like Waddle's okay as a number 2, but if you can trade him, I'm not against trading him either, honestly. They got some pieces. But the reason I've been pounding the table, and really, I know you probably didn't watch because you're on the trip after that last game against the Patriots, which was a disaster. And I'm not in, as I said on that show, I didn't care that they lost because I kind of knew they would lose. It's how they lost again. Like didn't show up, no effort, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the same thing. It's like this is why Mike had to go because we got 5 picks in the top 100, and even with a new GM, I want to make him picks for his head coach, not for Mike, who probably, even if he stayed, one more year, we kind of know how this was going to end. It's like, no, let's use those 5 top 100 picks, which are very valuable top 100 picks, 5 of them on guys who are going to fit whoever our next head coach is, because we knew we were going to have a new head coach eventually. So I'm very happy when that, he didn't make the move on that Monday after week 18. He made it to Thursday. Who cares? He got there. I don't care when he got there, Ross, but he got there and he made the right call. And I think John Eric Sullivan, from all the reports too, Troy Aikman, very impressed. And I think Troy's got a big voice in this room as well. He was brought in for a reason. And I guess he wowed the pants off everyone in the room. And that meant Troy as well. He was impressed with just like information, how he answered questions, what he presented. So this seems like a good hire. Now the head coach, they got like 8 or 9 names. They added more names today. I mean, they're going nuts with this head coach. It's a wide net. It's a wide net. Let's go through the names, including the ones that were added today. So today it was announced that Kevin Stefanski, former head coach of the Browns, interviewed in person in Miami. Tomorrow, Wednesday, or on Wednesday, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, Jeff Hafley from the Packers is interviewing. I would guess that's in person too, since their season's over. It was announced today that they requested permission to interview Jesse Minter of the Chargers and Patrick Graham of the Raiders. So the list, in no special order, that they have reached out to or they've already started with: Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator, Seattle; Stefanski, former Browns head coach; John Harbaugh, Ravens head coach, former; Jesse Minter, Chargers coordinator on defense; Hafley, Packers coordinator on defense; Chris Shula, Rams coordinator on defense; Kelvin Shepard, Lions coordinator on defense; Robert Saleh, 49ers coordinator on defense; and Patrick Graham. A lot of defensive coordinators. You got Stefanski and Clint Kubiak, both from the offensive side. I don't even think it's about that. I really don't think it's about that. Let's talk about the 2 guys that are the most high demand: Harbaugh, Stefanski. Diana Rossini, she reported a few hours ago, Harbaugh is down to Giants, Falcons, Titans. I think Miami's out of this. Nothing's official. He might hand them an interview. Rossini's very good. She's saying Giants, Falcons, Titans are the favorites. Kind of makes sense. They have young quarterbacks in place. Money, salary cap is way better than Miami's. What's your thoughts on Harbaugh? You think it's over? You think they still got a chance?
I mean, look, if I'm Harbaugh, I'm going to where the best opportunity is to win as well. And I think right now with the Miami roster, if you're looking at it purely from a football perspective, you've got the Patriots have ascended. The Bills are always going to be relevant. And you're looking, it's a two-dog race. So you're looking to compete against the Jets for that third leg. And I think he's looking for a more established, situation. And remember, his ties to the NFL really run deep. I think the biggest thing from reports that I read, I have not spoken to John Harbaugh, even though people say, hey, there's the Michigan connection, is that he wanted control over the 53-man roster. And with John Eric coming in, to me, that was a big question mark of like, this GM was brought in to conduct a roster. Now are you going to immediately hand off your first opportunity to a head coach, arguably a first ballot Hall of Fame head coach? As a new GM, I would want to work with the best person available. And I would say, hey, John, let's make this happen. But I'm not privy to those conversations. And it might simply be that, Harbaugh doesn't want to be here. But, look, I wouldn't rule him out. These reports are all.
Because here's one thing. Money trumps everything. And Ross can say, tell me what you want. Okay, got it. Money will trump everything. But again, here's my concern with that. If he really does not want to be here and he's just coming for the money, is his heart into it?
No. And I mean, look, he's got a lot of familiarity with the AFC. So I think that bodes well. But, Giants, it's a lot more high-profile job. Sorry, I'm just being honest with you.
And they got a lot of pieces in place already.
Mm-hmm. And you're in the big market. His family's close in Baltimore. It's not too much of a trek. So, there's a lot that's in play right now. But I don't think they're 100% out on him.
No, I just think it seems
all
more
these
unlikely.
reports are,
I know.
Smoke and mirrors.
I would say, though, it's probably more unlikely than it was, say, like a few days ago or last week.
Oh, when he first got, I mean, look.
It's more unlikely now, I think.
There's no chance Tomlin's coming, let's put
No,
that.
So, because I know a lot of fans are really hanging their head. Harbaugh, I go, he's not the only name out there, number one. And number two, I just think it's a tough spot for Miami because out of the now 9 spots, Miami's the worst situation. I forgot who did a poll, like USA Today or one of those. They had a poll like ranking the best openings because of the salary cap situation they're in, because they don't have multiple picks in round 1, like teams like Cleveland does, or a team like the Raiders holds number 1 overall, and stuff like there's more attractive spots. There's no young quarterback in place where here you got Ward with the Titans, Dart with the Giants, Raiders, you can pick who you want. Cleveland's got 2 picks in round 1. They can slide up and down and, find one if they want. So it's a tough spot for Miami to get someone of that caliber. So that's where it stands. We'll see. But, don't have your heart set on one guy because there's a lot of good names. Stefanski's the most intriguing, who met with them today. 43 years old, 2-time coach of the year in Cleveland. Let me say that again. 2-time coach of the year in Cleveland. Won a road playoff game versus their rival in Pittsburgh, which
they won a road playoff game in Minnesota. He's been named for a while.
And here's the stat that impresses me the most. We know Cleveland has been hot garbage for years. The roster's, it's fine. It's not great. They're at the bottom of the league. They're always picking at the top of the draft. His record versus teams inside the AFC North. In the AFC North, he going knocking heads with the Ravens, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. 7-5 versus Cincinnati, 6-6 versus Pittsburgh, and 4-8 versus the Ravens. This guy has been, has a lesser roster, and in most of those games, a lesser quarterback, and he's going roughly 500, 7-5 versus Cincy, 6-6 versus Pittsburgh, 4-8 versus the Ravens. Still ain't awful. It's like this guy finds ways to win with lesser talent, and I think at his age, if Miami could ever talk him into this here, that's a guy who might be here a while. Because I think once we fix the roster out of the cap, we'll start adding some players. He might be able to win here, like win-win.
You've got a lot of optimism. You have more optimism than I do.
Okay, so you're not a Stefanski guy. Okay, that's fine.
No. I am. Look, I'm familiar with him going back to his time at Minnesota. His track record's been unbelievable. You know, the question that we don't know the answer to is what's the plan with Tua? And it seems
he's gone. He's gone. I don't know how he's gone, but he's gone.
Right. So you're going to throw away this year, eat his salary, whatever. And then it's a question of what are you going to do? And to me, as you look at the candidates, I think that's why you have a slew of defensive coaches. Another question is, what are you going to do with Anthony Weaver? I know that he's interviewing again. And I'm sorry to say this, but there's the Rooney Rule. I hope that Anthony comes back. I'm a big Anthony Weaver fan, but it might be time for him to move on as well. And obviously, the head coach, you want to bring in your own people. But look, I think it's really about fit. And this is why I think they're casting such a wide net, is who do you want to work and spend 100 hours a week with? Who meshes with your personality? And who's going to stick it out with you? And
who's got the guts to sit through a bad 2026? That's what you got to find out. Not all these people do.
But most of these coordinators, like, shoot, I think the best position in the NFL is a fired head coach because you're going to get paid out. You know, right. I mean, Mike McDaniel, I read it. It's something like he's owed I think it's like 8 figures.
It is. It is.
So, like, great. I will collect at least $10 million and, you know, go to Bali for a year and, you know, say kumbaya, and then come back, re-energize, or do whatever I want to do, or do the Mike or the McCarthy where you get the think tank going in, you know, your house and try to do whatever and get a job. But I don't know. I have a personal favorite. I can share that, or we can go later in the show. But
you tell me your personal favorite now, because I'm gonna start going through some of the guys who don't have experience. So who's your personal favorite?
My choice is Robert Saleh.
Okay. So he's one of the guys I want nothing to do with. But okay, this is great. This is great because I can go back and forth. Tell me why you love Robert Saleh.
Well, one, he has a home here.
Yes.
He's very familiar with the area. His nephew's here, who I have a relationship with. You're coming off a 49ers tree. We know that he's been a head coach before. I talked to Calais Campbell recently here at the Fiesta Bowl. And he was able to shed a private light on kind of what took place with McDaniel going back to last year when he was here. And Robert Saleh, to me, is the perfect counterbalance to a brand new GM, where Robert has a lot of personnel experience, even though he's been on the coaching side. And I think he offers a lot of things that the other coaching candidates do not, based off of his experience. Now, the counter argument to that is he going to be able to relate to the players? Is he going to get behind a new regime? Is he going to be open to new ideas? Is he going to be able to fall in line, or is it going to have to be his way? And I think those are the discussions that they're going to have to see if they can, you know, iron this out and if they can all get aligned. But to me, based off the roster that you have, you're going to bring in an offensive coordinator anyway. So, you know, Clint Kubiak to me is the sexiest name. But I think to find and steady the ship, I think Robert Saleh is the guy until you know what your identity is. Unless they already have a very good idea of where they're going with these picks, which I can assure you that they don't at this point in time.
Not now.
But I think he steadies your ship. The question is, are you going to swing for a fence or not? And those are the questions that Aikman, Marino, Brandon Shore, Tom Garfinkel, and I think those are the conversations that they're going to feel out once they really talk to everybody.
Okay. First on Clint Kubiak, you're right. That would be a swing. That would be someone where you're taking a roll the dice on, because there's a very high ceiling there with what he's done in Seattle with Sam Darnold, against Sam Darnold. My problem is he just reminds me a lot of Adam Gase, Mike McDaniel, offensive-minded coach, had success somewhere else, and we're just going to bank. This guy knows offense. Now you're the head coach. He's going to ignore defense, and he's just going to focus on the offense. And I feel like we've been down this road already. That's what scares me about it. Well, if they hired him, I will give him a chance. I'm not going to crap all over it. I'm just saying that's what scares me about him. That's my fear with Clint Kubiak.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you're coming off, you remember who his father was.
Oh, I know.
And they love bloodlines.
They love bloodlines, yep.
And the question is, oh God, I can't believe I'm saying this phrase. Oh, it's going to pain me to say this.
I love it. Go.
I hate it. You know what I'm going to say?
I know what you're going to say.
Leader of men.
Leader of
that
men.
Phrase.
Look, we're going to war. We're going to war. I know.
But there's something about, like, the counterbalance when you have Anthony Weaver. We don't know if he's going to stay or not. But, again, I've covered Peyton Manning when he won a Super Bowl in Dallas. I've covered Aaron Rodgers for years. There's something about the alphas. You need somebody to hold the big dogs accountable so that when someone walks in the room, you sit up a little bit straighter and you do fall in line. And in my conversations with John Lynch throughout the years, like, he praises Saleh. But I mean, I think Clint's a sexy name. I would be a blast to cover, and I would love to see what he can do with Achane and Waddle, and we'll figure out who else they're going to get. But again, we're not going to be able to see any of this realistically until 2028 because next year's a throwaway. The year after that's going to be.
Well, let me say this: it could be 2027 if they rip off the Band-Aid with Tua and take the 99 million dead. They just say, you know what, we don't want his money on our cap past this year, and we're just going to. And then you can kind of go nuts. They won't go nuts because now it's more of the Packers way in the draft, but they can. 2027 might not be written off yet, but yes, I do agree. 2028 is when.
Yeah,
really.
So it's like, what is your vision from the top? And can you name someone like an associate head coach with a title?
Here's something too for quarterback. Let me just throw this out there from the Packers. Malik Willis is a free agent. People think he's going to get like a ton of money. I don't think he's going to get a ton. It can be a healthy contract, not a ton. Could you sign him to a 2-year deal? Healthy amount of money. You're not going to break the bank for. No one's going to break for him. He's your guy for this year to help just get through this year. Next year, then maybe next year in the draft, you find your quarterback. He's there for 1 year with a new quarterback. Then 2028, he's gone, Malik. Whoever you took in the 2027 draft, you're off and running with him. From Green Bay, I don't know how he feels about him, John Eric Sullivan, but that's a name I think we're going to hear because, look, he's going to have options. He can go to the Jets, Pittsburgh. There's a lot of teams need quarterbacks. Would you possibly
think it depends on the head coach.
Depends on the head coach, clearly. Okay.
But like Jacoby Brissett, I talk about him. I think the Dolphins win more games with Jacoby Brissett as quarterback this year than with Tua.
Of course. Anybody with Tua, they would have won more. He was terrible. I mean, they waited too long to bench him, honestly. And I know why, because he was making so much money and they didn't want to, quote unquote, look bad. But he should have been benched after the Cleveland game. That game was embarrassing. He should have been benched in October. But whatever, that's over with. Let me talk about Saleh real quick, and then we'll go on to some of our names. Everything you said about him is right. Everything you said. Here's my problem. And I live up here in the Northeast, watch on YouTube, got my little Syracuse shirt on. And I'm surrounded by the Yes Network and the MSG Network and the SNY Network. And all I hear is Jet Giant shows. And I don't really watch them, but sometimes I'll watch for 5-10 minutes. What Saleh scares me is the same problem Mike McDaniel had in one area. On Sunday, those 3 hours walking the sideline, he don't make adjustments. He don't know when to throw a challenge flag. Like, that's his weak spot during the games. And to me, that's the most important thing is how you manage a game on a Sunday. We're going to go for it. Now we're going to kick a field goal. He can call defense. I'm not worried about that. Yep. But the actual management of a game, tight game, when we call timeout. No, don't call timeout here. Wait till 2-minute warning. Like that stuff, that's where I think he doesn't.
I agree. He's the X's and O's. I agree.
That scares me.
You say the same thing with Mario Cristobal. Everybody at Oregon, that's why they let him out the door. We haven't seen a game yet in the playoff where that's transpired. We've seen it multiple times throughout his career, but this is where if you put the right pieces in place, I mean, I should maybe say his name now, but Mike McDaniel he didn't fire. He let the person that would have called all of the challenges and do all of that walk when he took over for Brian Flores. And this young coach is now with the Bears, has excelled and has done a phenomenal job. And do you have the pride to understand what your strengths and your weaknesses are? If the situation is like, hey, I know I'm not a game manager, I'm gonna pass that. I'm gonna delegate that opportunity. And that's where I think Mike McDaniel eventually got caught. I'm not saying that he's not a good coach. I hope that he gets another head coaching position, but it's about the team you build. Like, it's all about team building. And I think that Saleh could build the most complete team. Stefanski can do it too. But if you're going to go into this, like, we need to be 500 3 years from now, and then we're going to try to be call it a 5-year plan to win a playoff game, then I'm going young guns and like, let's go. But right. I don't know if that's the direction with Stephen Ross at his age I don't know what those conversations are.
Yeah. I saw something too today, very funny on social media, because Philadelphia fired their offensive coordinator. If Mike McDaniel doesn't get a head coaching job, could he go to Philadelphia? You'd have Vic Fangio and Mike McDaniel on the same staff. That would be hilarious.
Never gonna happen.
Never going to happen, though. Jeff Hafley, who I think, in my opinion, again, this is not what I want per se. This is what I'm just saying.
The Packers connection.
I think he's the clubhouse leader right now. I really do. He's going to meet him on Wednesday. I think he's the clubhouse leader. Now, and I know I've seen Dolphins fans get mad at me for saying what I just told you. They get viscerally mad when they bring up this guy's name. Did you watch the game Saturday versus the Bears? Yeah, I did. Guess what? It's one game. I don't care. I'm not going to judge anyone on one game. It's not his fault that they had a ton of injuries. Not his fault they have their star player on defense. And, hey, they were great for a half, too. They fell apart. It happens. It's one game. But he doesn't have head coaching experience in the NFL. But at Boston College, he was there for 4 years.
Right? Yeah.
And he had that. And I know fans, this is where fans sometimes don't understand the college football dynamic. It's Boston College. It's not Ohio State. They have no NIL money. They have no facilities. They have no recruiting base. Why do you think he left there to go to the Packers? Because you can't win at Boston College. And 3 of the 4 years he was there, they were bowl eligible. You know who's there now? Bill O'Brien at Boston College. You know how many games he won this year? 2. It's an impossible place to win. He had them bowl eligible 3 or 4 years. So he hasn't been an NFL head coach, but he's been a head coach at an ACC school. That counts for something. And last year with the Packers, they were top 10, pretty much top 5 in every category, third most in turnovers. This year they had a lot of injuries. They were still just outside the top 10, like 10th, 12th, 11th in most categories. Still very good. Micah Parsons wrote him a love letter last day when he spoke to the press. Like, he ain't going nowhere. I love the man. I'm not saying he's the best hire. I'm just saying if a week from now we're talking about Jeff Hafley, the next head coach of the Dolphins, I wouldn't be shocked. Would you?
I would say that he's like 4 on my list. He would be number 4 on my list. It's just a question of, actually it'd be 5, of where these other guys go. And it's not a knock on him at all. But
because the guys in front of him are probably like John Harbaugh, like Robert Saleh.
John Harbaugh, Stefanski, Saleh.
Yeah, exactly. So he's back. Yeah. So is he your top guy who has no NFL experience as a head coach? Is he there ahead of Minter, Shula, and that group?
I'd go Kubiak.
Kubiak won, then he's next.
Yeah, I mean, and I know everyone wants to talk about Shula.
Nice story. I don't know, though.
Yeah, I mean, like,
a lot of pressure.
I love Sean McVay, and I mean, he's got Matt LaFleur's brother as their offensive coordinator there. Yeah. I don't know. Like,
I've gone back and forth. Let me tell you my theory, because I've gone back and forth. I wrote an article when the handwriting was on the wall, like in October, like Mike's done, because they were really bad. And so I wrote an article like, who could possibly be some next head coach candidates? And then I did one on Chris Shula. I go, look, it'd be a great story. It's what movies are made of. If Shula came here, turned this around, and won like his grandfather. But the pressure on him from day one, the first game, Don Shula won 347 games. Chris Shula, 0-1. That's not going to stop, okay? And that pressure is going to be tremendous. But I have evolved on this to the point where he's a grown-ass man. He knows what he's signing up for. He knows what he's walking into. So if he comes here, no excuses. He knew this walking in. So if they want to go there, I'm not as against it as I was in October, but he better be sure he's ready, because like we said, 2026 is going to be bad. 2027 might not be great. Like, you're going to go through it And people are going to compare you to Granddad every day.
I'm not sure if he's interviewed for a head coaching job. I think this would be his first opportunity.
This is his first week he's starting those interviews. He's got like 4 of them lined up, though.
Yeah, so I think, he's definitely a person of interest to talk to. But again, it's about the fit. And, I don't know what the direction is from Stephen Ross. But to me, this team is a full cycle 5 years away from, getting to where it needs to be. And that's basically saying that a lot of things have to go right.
Yeah, and I think part of this, too, is Troy Aikman, I think, is being listened to. Because one of the things that which he said actually on the radio during the general manager searches, he preached alignment. Everyone's got to be on the same page, which here, that's never been the case because we'll fire one, keep the other, fire the other, hire a new. Like, we never fire everyone at the same time. There's never been any alignment. People are working against each other. Everyone's got their own motives. Everyone's throwing someone under the bus. He's preached alignment. And I think with Troy, because here's the deal. Marino's here. I don't know how involved he is in the day-to-day operations with things. From what I hear, it's not much. Shore's just a money guy. Tom, he came from the Padres. Ross is an 83-year-old real estate guy. Like, Troy Aikman's like the football guy. Now, John Eric Sullivan, too, is obviously a football guy. So now I think those two guys, I don't want to say they're going to make the call, but their voices are going to carry more weight than some of these other guys who've been here for the failure and probably don't know the NFL as well as Troy and John. So I think, and plus I view this as like they're an expansion team right now. Like, they're a mess. Like, they got nothing. And if you're an expansion team, this is honestly the time to go probably with the first-time head coach and grow together. Take your lumps together. So if you want to go Jesse Minter, who's a hot candidate as well. If you want to go Chris Shula, Halfley, I think Shepard and Graham, that might be a stretch, I think. But okay, throw them in the mix if they fall in love with one of them. I think this might be the perfect spot for that. And I know a lot of fans are, well, I don't want one more first-time head coach. Look, everyone's a first-time head coach at some point. And I know it hasn't worked for 20 years. I know. But this is actually the right time for a first-time head coach with the situation we're in.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what shakes out. We really haven't had a head coach get hired yet. And I think as the dominoes, start to fall. But obviously now with Mike Tomlin deciding to step away, I think that changes the landscape.
Opens up Pittsburgh.
So, is Aaron Rodgers going to come back? Is Jalen Ramsey coming back? Like, what are they doing with their guys? Like, they have, but that's a highly, highly coveted job, and the Rooneys are beloved. So that was a nice little wrinkle today. And
the one guy I've wanted, and I know he said he's not going to come out and be a coach, is Marcus Freeman. I would not be shocked if now with the Pittsburgh Steelers open, Marcus Freeman changes his mind, if they want him, of course, because that's a spot where they don't fire you. They've had 3 head coaches
19.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Since the merger.
Ever. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. You get hired there, you're good till you can retire.
Well, I mean, those are 3.
As long as you win. As long as you win. As long as you
those
win.
are 3 Hall of Famers.
I know. But the point is, that's someone who I could see changes his mind, because Pittsburgh is, once again, one of those spots where coveted spot, legendary franchise, iconic history.
Yeah.
We used to be that. We've kind of run it into the ground, though.
72 still happened. Come on now.
72 still happened a long time ago, though. But I think right now, if you're Miami, Stefanski, Saleh, the guys with the 2, with the experience, you go that route. And then if you're going with a first-timer, I think you are looking at Halfley, Minter, Shula, Clint as well, Clint Kubiak, those 4. I think those are there. Would you be surprised if Mike McCarthy does not get an interview here with his ties, obviously, with the Packers, John Eric Sullivan, that whole thing?
So from what I've heard is that Mike is not interested in this job.
62, so I'm not shocked either.
And, Mike's had some health issues. But Mike, speaking of Pittsburgh, it's where he's from.
Yeah.
To me, that would be the fit from him. I mean, he would love to go home. Mike's a football guy, and I don't necessarily. This isn't a knock. Miami's a football town, but Miami's not a football town.
No, it's not.
And Mike is. I mean, you look at his track of Green Bay and Dallas. Like,
I know. He's got the same resume as Harbaugh. People crap on McCarthy. You put their resumes next to each other.
Yeah.
They're identical. They both win 60% of their games. They both won one Super Bowl. They both come in either first or second place like 90% of the times in their respective divisions. Their resumes are identical, but for some reason Harbaugh is like put on a pedestal, and Mike McCarthy, he's terrible. What do you mean? They got the same resume.
Well, yeah. There's a lot, to that because he was in Green Bay, which was a small market, and you had Aaron Rodgers, and it was very well documented.
He went 12-5 3 years in a row with the Cowboys. With that crazy owner, he went 12-5 3 years in a row.
It was a prime of, God, that running back. Oh, fucking Zeke. That was. I mean, he was.
Him and Dak,
he was.
They were
so
good.
Yeah, I mean, look. Yes, I mean Saleh would still be my choice, but I mean, if it ends up being Kubiak, I'm like, all right, let's get sexy with it. I mean, his dad was good in Denver, cool dude. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm curious to see how much sway Aikman has. Like, that's the big question. And,
it is.
I understand Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones, but Aikman's got a cush gig, and if something in the front office opened up with the Cowboys, to me, I would jump on it. But
I don't think he's got the ego to let someone else in, Jerry. That's the problem.
No, I think Jerry's got to go. I think he's got.
Oh yeah, if he goes, yeah. If he went,
But I don't think he would be disloyal to the Cowboys and sign with somebody else. And surprisingly, a name that's not been thrown around is Louis Riddick. Which I'm surprised.
Yeah, well, I think part of it is Mike Mayock screwed that up for everyone in TV. Because Mike Mayock was the guy at the draft every year on TV, telling everyone what to do, telling everyone that's bad, this is good. He was that guy. He got a shot with the Raiders, and he screwed it up beyond recognition. So everyone's like, be careful with these guys on TV. It's easy to talk on TV because there's no repercussions. And then when you get in the real role, I think Mike Mayock, there's going to be a long time before someone who's on TV gets a shot. I think that's why for Riddick, everyone's a little bit leery. Flores as well. He was with Tomlin in Pittsburgh when he first got back. He interviewed for the Ravens job. He still got the lawsuit against the NFL. He's got Tom Brady in Vegas. There's ties there. You think he gets a shot or he'll get hired anywhere, or is this just as long as that's out there, that lawsuit, there's no way?
I don't know the answer to that question because it seems like there's some sort of, the NFL protects itself. I think that until that matter is resolved by the NFL, he will not be a head coach. But
I'm with you.
I think he will maintain a job also because of the lawsuit. Like, I mean, he will have a job.
He'll have a job as a coordinator for sure. Yeah.
So it's kind of a catch-22. I'm a Brian Flores fan. I was only here briefly when he was here, but players, look, no players are going to like every head coach. This locker room was split on him. But it's hard pressed to see. It's a shame, but there are politics involved in the league, just like there is all professional sports leagues. And, that's a storyline that the media tends to forget about, but it's very real within the circles.
Yeah. We got 2 super chats. Last one. There's 2 names I want nothing to do with, and thank God they haven't reached out to any of them yet. And I'll just say them real quick. The first one, Cliff Kingsbury. He reminds me of all the bad traits of McDaniel and Adam Gase. Clint kind of reminds me of them. Cliff Kubiak is that man. He had a losing record in college. He had a losing record in the NFL. Any team that makes him a head coach is just asking for trouble. Nothing to do with Cliff Kingsbury. The other name, and he was here for a short time, and he went viral on Hard Knocks. Anthony Campanelli. He's fine. He shouldn't be a head coach here because I think if not for that, F-bomb tirade speech, no one would know who he was. He's been a coordinator for 1 year in Jacksonville. Did a great job, but only 1 year experience as a coordinator. I do not want that as the next head coach. maybe someday, not now, be a coordinator for 4 or 5 years. But I don't think even 2 or 3, but not, I just, those two, and they haven't reached out to him. Those would be the two that would really be like, really, we're doing this. So I'm very happy with that. Now, got some super chats. Cyber Honey, thank you for super chat. Any chance Tom will come? No, it sounds like from all the reporting from Schefter too that he's going to TV. He's 53, so maybe he sits there for a year and then he comes back next year. We'll see, but it sounds like he's going to TV. He's going to have a lot of options in TV.
Do whatever he wants.
CBS just lost Matt Ryan. There's a spot there. Fox, and I say this, people get mad. You're not on Fox no more, are you? Or are you still?
We are, but we're not.
Okay. It's like watching a nursing home on Sundays. Howie Long, Terry Bradshaw, they gotta go. They gotta get some young faces in there. Fox might be a good spot.
I'm sitting right here.
Exactly, Josh. You got the young face. Fox needs some young faces. And then ESPN, they're about to take over the NFL Network. It sounds like in April. They're going to need more people for more content. So he's going to have options in TV, but he's not coaching. If I'm Mike Tomlin, here's what I do. Take the year off. See what happens with the Jets. They got 3 first-round picks next year. You might be able to get Arch Manning or someone like that. Go run the Jets next year. That's what I would do if I'm Mike Tomlin. Next one from our Eric. Our Eric, thank you. Any concern on Stefanski giving a play call? No, because here's the deal. I think he's a pretty good play caller. That wasn't the issue in Cleveland is they had Mayfield, and then the owner went chasing Watson, and then Watson said, I don't want to go to Cleveland. And some of these guys worth billions of dollars don't like hearing the word no. Oh, you don't want to come to Cleveland? You want to go to the Saints or Atlanta? Watch this. I'll pay you this much. Then Watson goes, okay. And then you run off Mayfield, and Stefanski's left holding the bag. It's not his fault. And he still went to the playoffs the 1 year with Joe Flacco. Am I right? Tell me what I'm telling lies.
I love the energy right now. I mean,
all right.
Look, even what he did this year, he had 3 quarterbacks. And it's hard to win games.
It's hard to win games. That was a bad situation. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that he gets a chance. And he will.
Oh, he will.
He's going to get a head coaching job.
I mean, if Harbaugh heads to the Giants, I could see him getting the job with the Titans, and that's a great job with Ward and everything going on there. He'd be set there. I wouldn't be shocked if he went to the Ravens. That'd be a real big FU to Cleveland if he went to the Ravens and stayed inside the division. Or hopefully, I kind of hope, I like him more than you, obviously. I hope he kind of comes here because I think that's a guy who you might have. Look, it's going to be a while, but you're kind of used to losing.
I agree.
So.
I think Stefanski would be a good hire here. I don't know how much.
That's your top option.
With John Eric. I don't know.
We don't know. Yeah, nobody knows. But I think here's the deal too. Last thing, Clint, they rushed him for that first interview because they had to because they were on a bye. So now they can meet with him if they make it to the Super Bowl that week off in between. They can meet with him in person per rule. But the fact that they rushed it so fast makes me think there might be a lot of interest there too. So I think Clint Kubiak's a name to watch. Hafley, Stefanski.
Clint's getting a job. It's just a question.
Clint's getting a job. It might be in Cleveland. It might be in Arizona. It could be in Miami. We'll see. But we'll have more in the coming, probably next week or so. I think in the next 10 to 14 days, we'll probably have an answer, honestly. Unless it is someone like Clint Kubiak, then it's got to wait a little longer. Unless they lose this week, then I guess not.
We need an introductory press conference for John Eric. I'm still waiting for the date.
You got to go to that one. You got some good questions to ask. I know for sure. But everyone, thank you for listening. Be sure to follow Josh at The Mo's Knows on social media. Check him out on WSVN 7, South Florida's #1 news channel. He'll be at the national championship game Monday night. Check out that coverage as the Hurricanes take on the Indiana. Now, it's an 8.5-point spread. It went up a point. I know it's a lot of points. I know they're at home. I don't know if the home field really matters that much in this game, though. It's some it matters. Who do you like?
I took the Canes to cover +10, but I got Indiana winning.
I'm kind of with you on that. I think this is a special Indiana
10,
team.
I mean, Indiana has not given up more than 24 points all year.
I don't think Miami's scoring 24 on them either.
And that's my concern. And this defense is going to have to play perfect. Moten, their big defensive tackle, is fighting through it. Akeem, luckily, is okay with his right elbow. But they got some hoggies up front, and they have to get to Mendoza. They have to make them one-dimensional. They have to stop the run. And I look. Fernando's from down here, but
that's the thing. If they
the
were
only
playing
way to
any
win
other
this
team,
game, they have to take him out of the game. And I'm not
Yes,
saying
absolutely.
do that, but they have to take him out of the game if they want.
yeah, you got to shut down that passing attack. And I'll say this: if Indiana was playing literally any other team in the country, this would be the biggest story in South Florida. From Miami, Cuban descent, coming home for a chance to win that championship. But because they're playing Miami, nobody cares about that right now. And all the locals down there are like, we are rooting for this kid. We don't care that he's Cuban from the area. The hell with him. They're all rooting for the Hurricanes. But okay. Yeah, she'll be good. Everyone, check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com. We'll talk to you again. We're going to have a show tomorrow. I'm not sure if it'll be me and Tom or just me. We'll have something because I'm sure there's going to be a lot more news. But everyone, when you're on the road, take care and please make sure we must put an end to highway profanity. Got to stop highway profanity, Josh.